The Exploring Stories, SCP-106 The Old Man. In my prior videos, we covered a teddy bear, red ice that can take over anything with the substance H2O, as well as a coffee machine that could create anything. But today, we're going to cover SCP-106 The Old Man. In my life, I've had a lot of interactions with old people, whether it was in a professional setting or just interacting with them during my daily life. What I can tell you is some old people are angels and others are just creepy as hell. Today's SCP touches on that aspect of creepy old people mixed with some horror. Object Class: Keter. Description: SCP-106 appears to be an elderly humanoid with a general appearance of advanced decomposition. This appearance may vary, but the rotting quality is observed in all forms. SCP-106 is not exceptionally agile and will remain motionless for days at a time, waiting for prey. It is also capable of scaling any vertical surface and can remain suspended upside down indefinitely. When attacking, it will attempt to incapacitate its prey by damaging major organs, muscle groups, or tendons, then pull disabled prey into its pocket dimension. SCP-106 appears to prefer human prey in the ages of 10 to 25 years old. SCP-106 causes a corrosion effect in all solid matter it touches, engaging in a physical breakdown in materials several seconds after making contact. This is observed as a rusting, rotting, and cracking of materials, and the creation of a black mucus-like substance similar to the material coating SCP-106. This effect is particularly detrimental to all living tissues, and it is assumed to be a digestion action. Corrosion continues for 6 hours after contact, after which the effect appears to burn out. SCP-106 is capable of passing through solid matter, leaving behind a large patch of its corrosive mucus. SCP-106 is able to vanish inside solid materials, entering what is assumed to be a form of pocket dimension. SCP-106 is then able to exit this dimension from any point connected to the initial entry point. For example, entering the inner wall of a room and exiting the outer wall, entering a wall and exiting from the ceiling. It is unknown if this is a point of origin for SCP-106 or simply a lair created by it. Limited observations of this pocket dimension has shown it to comprise mostly of halls and rooms with blank amount of entries. This activity can continue for days, with some subjected individuals being released for the express purpose of hunting, recaptured, and data expunged. So, a quick summary of the description of SCP-106. It's an elderly humanoid with advanced decomposition occurring to its body, covered in a black liquid that's able to corrode, rot, or eat through any kind of solid matter. SCP-106 has a pocket dimension that it's able to access in the sole purposes of using this to hunt, eat, or data expunged its subjects. Old people are creepy enough when they're going through dementia episodes or just being an old person in general. Now, imagine one crawling up the wall and going into a pocket dimension, hunting you down. Terrifying. But let's proceed with the special containment procedures. Now, before we get into the special containment procedures, there's a very important note that I need to highlight. Due to the exceedingly difficult to contain nature of SCP-106, it must be reviewed every 3 months or during a post-breach incident. Physical restraints are impossible, and direct physical damage appears to have no effect on SCP-106. As it stands, the containment procedures and the creation of them revolves around basic observations and immediate responses. Previous, more proactive special containment procedures have been recalled due to the events of breaches dated blank, 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 and blank. Wow, the SCP Foundation has let this thing escape dozens of times. It's to be said that even though the SCP Foundation has an abundance of resources and some of the most intelligent people on the planet, it still needs to do an abundance of research to determine how to contain a threat such as SCP-106 from being able to escape and harm others. We're going to go into the special containment procedures, but I'm going to break them down into 1, 2, and 3, because in this article, it seems as though the special containment procedures has been changed 3 different times. Let's look into seeing why. Special containment procedures. 1. No physical interaction with SCP-106 is allowed at any time. All physical interaction must be approved by no less than 2/3 of a vote from the O5 command and may only extend to testing situations. All staff, including research, security, D-class, etc., are to remain at least 20 meters away from the containment cells at all given times, except for mandated maintenance and reevaluation checks. Containment cells must be held suspended in a secondary cell, the walls of which must be at least 30 meters distant from the outer walls of the first or primary cell. The secondary cell is to remain under total observation at all times, and both be illuminated and clear of any and all debris. Any items, movements, or non-normal activity noted within the secondary cell will result in a full site lockdown. No exceptions. Lockdown will be maintained until a situation normal dispatch is issued by Site Command. Any corrosion observed on the primary cell, secondary cell, staff members, or other site locations within 200 meters of SCP-106 are to be reported to Site Security immediately. Any objects or personnel lost to SCP-106 are to be deemed missing or killed in action. No recovery attempts are to be made under any circumstances by O5 Council orders. It is to be noted as well, SCP-106 does not have a docile state. Do not be tricked. Do not be confused. Any reduction in activity or increased compliance from SCP-106 is deemed to be a luring tactic, immediately preceding an aggressive action. It should be treated as such. Special Containment Procedure Number 2. Instead of reading this article to you, I'm just going to tell you what has changed since the first to the second review of the Special Containment Procedures. In the second containment procedure, it seems that all individuals must stay away from the cell at least 30 meters away, a change from 20 meters. It's also noted that any usage on the containment cell can only be done under the guise of research. No mandated maintenance and evaluation checks. Further, its cell has been upgraded. It is now 16 layers of lead-lined steel. It's separated by no less than 18 centimeters of open space, aside from minimal support struts. Said container is to be kept suspended by a continuous current system within a fluid medium. This medium is to be replaced in 48-hour cycles and constantly monitored for any corrosion intrusion. So, they basically made the cell way more thick, durable, and added water to continuously be moving between cell 1 and cell 2. Revision number 2 keeps Site Security deemed missing and KIA once taken by SCP-106, and no recovery attempts are to be made. Basically the same. SCP-106 still does not have a docile state. Unlike the first special containment procedures, the second one tells you exactly why it didn't work out. It was discontinued due to multiple service breaches, Agitation systems continue to disperse corrosion during the breach event, resulting in multiple breaches and a full containment failure. What I understand is happening is water is being rotated out every 48 hours of the cell when the corrosion event occurs, and it affects the water. Even though the water is removed, when it goes into the filtration system, the corrosion continues to spread, resulting in an escape or an escape attempt. This leads us to number 3 in the revisions. A lot of you may have also realized that he's escaped before. How'd they get him back? I'll get into that in the next section here, but just bear with me. Like the last special containment procedures, I'm just going to give you some information as to what has changed instead of reading you the entire article. Just like the other special containment procedures 1 and 2, nobody is allowed to interact with SCP-106 unless they have the express consent and permission from 2/3 votes of the O5 command. Any interactions with SCP for any reasons must result in the undertaking of general non-essential staff evacuation. All staff, researcher, security, Class D, etc. are to remain 60 meters away, not 30. SCP-106 also seems like its cell got a big upgrade. It is now comprised of lead-lined steel. The container will be sealed within 40 layers of identical material, with each layer separated by no less than 36 centimeters of empty space. The support struts between each layers are to be randomly spaced. The container is to remain suspended no less than 60 centimeters from any surface by ELOIID electromagnetic supports. Secondary containment area is to be comprised of 16 spherical cells, each filled with various fluids and a random assembly of surfaces and supports. Secondary containment is to be fitted with light systems, capable of flooding the entire assembly with no less than 80,000 lumens of light instantly, with no direct human involvement. Both containment areas are to remain under 24-hour surveillance. Just like the prior entries, any corrosion observed on any containment cell surfaces are to be marked immediately and reported to site security. Anybody who's lost to SCP-106 are to be deemed missing in KIA. At the end of this entry for the special containment procedures, it tells you exactly why this containment procedure worked and the others didn't. It says, continued research and observation have shown that when faced with highly complex, random assemblies of structures, SCP-106 becomes confused, showing a marked delay on entry and exit from said structures. They can now slow him down. It has been shown to have an aversion to direct and sudden light. This is not manifested in any form of physical damage, but an extreme and rapid entry into his pocket dimension, which is generated on any solid surface he enters from. These observations, along with those of lead aversion and liquid confusion, have reduced the general escape incidences by over 43%. The primary cells have been effective in recovering incidents requiring recall protocol blank. Observation is still ongoing. So we reach the end of the special containment procedures. And during the special containment procedures, we had touched that SCP-106 has escaped the Foundation on numerous instances. Obviously, its favorite kind of prey is humans between the age of 10 to 25, and the Foundation, being the Foundation, needs to retrieve it. So, let's get into the recall protocol. Recall protocol. In the event of a breach by SCP-106, a human within the age of 10 to 25 years of age will be prepped for recall, with the compromised containment cell being replaced and restored for use. When the cell is ready, the lured subject will then become injured, preferably by a the breakage of their bone or by cutting their leg, femur, or severing a major tendon, such as the Achilles tendon. Lured subjects will then be placed in the prep cell, and the sound emitted by said subject will be transmitted over the site's public address system. SCP-106 will then begin to typically gravitate towards the lured subject within 10 to 15 minutes after hearing the subject's screams. Should SCP-106 not respond to the initial broadcast, additional physical trauma is to be administered to the lured subjects at 20-minute intervals until it responds. Multiple lured subjects may be used in the case of a major breach event. SCP-106 will typically enter a dormant state after finishing with a lured subject. In addition, subjects may become blank data expunged. Now, this is horrifying enough without going into the notes on its behavior. SCP-106 seems to not hunt and attack based off of hunger, but on desire. It will attack and collect multiple individuals during a hunting event, keeping many of them alive in the pocket dimension for extended periods of times, like a plaything. It has no determinable limit and appears to collect a random number of prey during these events. The inner dimension accessed by SCP-106 appears to only be accessible to them. Recordings and transmission devices sent through on D-Class personnel have been shown to still operate within this dimension. Recordings and transmissions are very degraded. It appears SCP-106 will play with captured prey and appears to have full control over time, space, and perception inside this dimension. This leads us to the end of this article. I'm going to give you a quick summary of what SCP-106 is, as well as my thoughts. SCP-106 is an elderly humanoid figure, covered in rot and decay. It's intelligent in the way that it's able to hunt humans, not for hunger, but desire. It controls a pocket dimension, from the space to the time to individual perception. There's multiple rooms within this dimension that it likes to hunt and hurt people in. The SCP Foundation has had to do extensive testing to determine what is the most appropriate containment area for it, and once it does escape, they end up having a recall protocol, where they more or less torture somebody or multiple people over the periods of 20 to 2 hours to get SCP-106 to return. In all honesty, they are kind of playing the role of greater good. What if SCP-106 was allowed to roam? Maybe those 1 to 5 people that were tortured by the SCP Foundation would be a fragment compared to its infinite number of infinite possibilities of hunts. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. Please consider subscribing, leaving a like or a comment, and letting me know what other SCPs you'd like me to talk about. If SCPs aren't your thing, what kind of other historical or stories would you like me to recount? Thank you so much for your time, and have a great rest of your night.